Hello, hello. Welcome back to Ken Recommends. And today we're going to do something that I've been wanting to do here in this space. I mentioned it in my introductory video, but I haven't figured out a way to work it in until now. What better time to do it than my birthday? My birthday is January 27th. I don't know if I'm going to post this before or the day of, but I've had a lot of time to reflect coming up to year 29. And this segment is going to be called Reflections. And this first one is a birthday reflection on not being where you thought you would be at this point in your life. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Let's get into it. So for a little backstory, let's back it up a couple of years. I am 22 years old, and back then, if you asked me what 29 would look like, I would say that it included me finishing my Doctor of Public Health or DRPH degree, because I had just came out of finishing a master's and was ready for some reason to go right back into school. And for background, on the background, I got my bachelor's first, graduated, went straight into a master's, took a little time off, and then went straight into a doctoral program. So I would have said that 29 included finishing my DRPH, moving forward to leadership levels, or what they call in the corporate world the C-suite, at the national nonprofit that I was working for, and taking steps into retiring there because I loved that organization so much and what they stood for, that I really thought that I would see myself putting in maybe 30 years or so there and retiring. That's the track that I was on. And until last summer, that was pretty much the case. I was in my last year of this DRPH program. The first job that I was in at this organization, and I won't say their name, I had just moved into a new program there because the first one that I was under, it was under grant funding. And anybody who works in the grant world, you know that when that funding ends, it's time to find something else to do. And I did, because leadership saw the potential in me. I saw the potential in me. And so I found another program to be under that was grant funded. But I could be there for a couple of years while I figure out my next steps, while I finish out this DRPH program. And that was life for me. I was going to school full time. I also was working full time. And at one point, I had a part-time job. I was a teacher's assistant. And that almost felt like full-time most days, with the work that took on top of school, on top of my regular job. And when that ended, I went straight into an internship. So as you can imagine, that took a toll, and we're gonna get there. But I say all of that to lay out the background and to say that at this point in my life, none of that is happening. None of that is going on anymore. To make a long story short, my immediate supervisor for that program that I was working under was so bad. And I promise I'm not here to bash anybody. That's why I'm not saying any names. I'm not saying the name of the organization, because I do believe that they're doing good work. That takes a toll on you when you're putting in so much work, putting in overtime, when you still have school and other things to get to in the day. You're putting in overtime because you really believe in what you're doing and you really want to help as many people as you can. And somebody who is telling you that you're bad at your job, I truly just stopped believing in myself. I felt useless in my position. I felt worthless in my position. And it got so bad that it made me feel like I didn't belong there. And there's more things that led to that, because I was one of the youngest people on the team. I was the only Black woman on the team for a little while. So I already felt that. And on top of that, I'm really quiet. I'm really quiet. There was a lot of things that already made me feel like I didn't belong there. But the one person that you report to, that you talk to every day, is just speaking all of the life out of you. It's tough. It's tough. And it got so bad. The last 2 meetings that we ever had, I was just in tears with the things that she said to me. And now I'm learning after the fact, after I've talked to people who work in other departments, you know, coworkers from programs past, or, you know, talking to other adults and telling them what she said. And I'm finding out that that's not something someone should say to you, especially in the workplace. I didn't know this at the time, but now, you know, I do. But I left those meetings in tears. It was that bad. It was that bad. And I just truly felt useless. I felt worthless. It was just so clear that I could not stay where I was, and I couldn't. I know I couldn't, because at this point, my mental health is so bad, I'm on antidepressants. Because I just truly feel like I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't be working here. I shouldn't be doing my DRPH program, because what's the point when I'm terrible at what I'm doing? And then it got to the point where I feel like I shouldn't be here. So, and I'm sorry, y'all bear with me. This, of course, is a sensitive subject. But yeah, I got on antidepressants. It was that bad. So this organization, they tried to find another program that had an opening for me to go into. But at this time of the year, like at the end of a fiscal year, or the end of when an organization does their business for the year, there really wasn't anything around. New positions weren't going to pop up until that new fiscal year started and new money was in. So there really wasn't that many options, even though I wanted to stay. I'm realizing that my dream, 22-year-old Ken's dream of staying here until retirement, is probably not going to happen. And I'm applying for jobs outside of this organization. I'm applying everywhere because there is a countdown until my last day with this organization. Even though I've applied to a bunch of jobs, and anybody applying for jobs right now, especially in the public health field with everything going on, you know, you're fighting tooth and nail for a position, because we're all looking for a position right now. But I realized that I needed to go. And I know it provided job security and financial security and things like that, but after some serious praying and some talking with my husband, because, you know, this affects both of us in a way, I realized that for my sanity, what little sanity I had at that time, and really for my life, I could not stay where I was. I could not stay. So that last day in that position came, and I hadn't found anything. And so I walked away. And honestly, for like the first 2-3 weeks, I was fine with it, because in my own personal life, there was a lot going on. Me and my husband were getting ready to move because he's in the military and he got put on orders. So it's the packing, the traveling, because this is out of state. We had to move out of state, get situated somewhere else. So it was easy for me to put my energy and attention elsewhere. And honestly, I needed the break. But once everything settled back down, I realized that school was still there, because I think at this point I was on a break from school. Summer break had started, but now summer break is over and it's time to get back into the swing of things. And I'm realizing that I can't. Usually whenever there's a break like that from school, I take the reset that I need and I can come back. I could not get back into the swing of things when that semester started. It led to a really bad panic attack. And I should say, this isn't even the first one in this span of, let's say, a year, because back when I was in that position that I was in, the stress and the feelings that came with working with that supervisor, everything had gotten so bad at one point, I was in the hospital. Like one day my heart was just beating so fast and it would not stop. And it's not like I had any coffee or caffeine or anything. I was just sitting down and it would not stop. I was in the hospital, in the emergency room. So I'm realizing, flash forward back to the most recent panic attack with school and everything, I'm realizing that I'm extremely burnt out. Like, yes, I had like a 2-week break, but even that break was spent on moving to another state, packing, unpacking, all of that. After everything I just went through leaving this job, I haven't even processed any of that. And now I'm supposed to just get back into school and be okay. And I'm starting to realize that I'm not. I'm burnt out. And I reached out to my school counselor. I explained what was going on. And I just said, I'm like, please help me. I don't know what to do, but I can't handle this right now. And she told me that you could do a leave of absence where you take some time off from school and then you can come back, jump in right back where you started from. And so I decided to do that for the semester. And then it led to another semester. And right now, I don't feel like I'm going back. And that's heavy for me right now. It's still heavy because here we are at the cusp of 29, and everything that I thought I would have professionally now, all of that has changed. I don't even know if I want to be in the public health field the way that I was, or even at all. And this is something I wanted to do since I was 20 years old. So when you're so sure of something and that's what you're putting in your effort and your time and your money, because y'all know going to school ain't cheap, to spend all this time and realize that maybe this isn't what you want to do now. You don't even know. I don't know who I am without these things, you know? I'm not gonna lie. It was, and it still is, depressing to feel like you don't know who you are without what you deem success, without these, what they like to call key performance indicators, the things that make you feel like you're a success. Oh, I have this degree, or I did this, or I was able to help this many people at this job, or, all of my success was tied into my degrees and what I was able to do at the jobs that I've had. And without work or school, I don't know who the hell I am. And that was a lot. That was a lot to sit with. This isn't where I thought I would be at 29 years old. I have no idea what to do next or where I'm going next. And that's been hard to sit with. That's been hard to sit with. And I'll be honest, with all of this going on, there's been times where I didn't want to see 29. There were times where I didn't want to see 29. And I'll be even more honest. There were times where I almost didn't see 29. It got that bad. That's why y'all haven't seen me for a while. I don't think I've posted since before Christmas. And there's a reason for that. Even during that time, I was masking. I was, trying to put on a brave face and, still do some things here and there. But I'll be honest, during this time, where I haven't been posting anything, I almost didn't see 29. And that's rough. That's rough. But here we are. We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about what helps us get through. And so that is what I have for you today. When life is going all of the ways that you never expected it to, it's okay to feel that. It's okay to grieve that, because that's what you have to do. You're grieving what you thought life would be, what you thought life could be. And that's okay. I had to grieve that. I had to feel that. I was thinking that if I just kept going, if I didn't sit and think about it, if I didn't sit with those emotions and with the hurt, that I wouldn't feel it. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. You're still going to feel it. You're just going to feel it in other ways that really aren't helpful. So you've got to take some time to sit with those emotions and grieve it. It is also okay to find whatever form of therapy that works for you, that isn't harmful to you. You need the things that are going to help you stay healthy, get healthy, be healthy, all of those things. For me, the first step was therapy. I've done therapy in the past a couple times, actually, because this isn't my first bout with depression. I've done therapy before, and as long as I have somebody that I truly feel like I can talk to freely in that safe space, I can do it. And my husband, who has been my rock, and that's another thing. Make sure you got good people in your corner that can lift you up when you can't do it yourself. My husband helped me find a therapist in the new city that we're in, and that's been really, really good for me, because it's hard for me. It was hard for me, and still is sometimes, to sit and face certain feelings or even understanding why I do certain things until I have that third party that can see from the outside looking in and give me that perspective. That's how I had learned that I was tying my feelings of worth and success to work and school, and not to just who I am at the core as a person, as Kennedy. So that was really helpful. I've also learned why it's so hard for me to process certain behaviors, certain environments, the way I get overstimulated, the way that my brain works, and how it's a little different from the way most brains work. And that may have something to do with autism. And that therapist that I have has been able to connect me with a care team that can dive into that further for me and help me do the test to confirm what we're believing is autism. In the meantime and in between time, while waiting on all of these appointments to finish, just knowing that there may finally be an answer for why I do certain things that I do, why I think the certain ways that I think, or why certain environments and certain actions and behaviors affect me so deeply. I've been able to find tools and things to help me navigate, ground, reset in ways that I've never been able to do before. Even right now, while I'm talking about these tough feelings, I've been stimming the whole time. I have a fidget ring. I have a couple, actually. I have stem toys. I have weighted blankets. I have loop earplugs for going out to dinner and it's loud. Like, I've been able to find new ways to help myself deal with things that I've never been able to really deal with before. And that feels amazing. But I also know that talk therapy isn't for everyone for a bunch of different reasons. One of those especially being cost. So if talk therapy or just therapy like that isn't really your thing or isn't really in the cards right now, there are other ways to still be able to have a way to ask yourself those deep questions, or being able to reflect on your own that doesn't call for a copay. And for me, one of the things that I like to do, that my therapist even recommended I started back up again, is journaling. There are a bunch of different journals with prompts already in them at your local bookstore, your local Walmart, what have you, that can still help ask those questions that help you go that extra step in your thinking to help you understand yourself a little better. I actually have 2 journals. The first one is a prayer and gratitude journal, just on those really hard days with depression and things, being able to sit and reflect on the good things that happen in the day that you may miss if you really don't sit down and take some time to think about them. Writing that down every day and being grateful for those things has been great. And then another journal is the 3,000 questions about me. And I'm sorry, I don't remember where I got these. Walmart maybe, but I'm sure if you Google them, it'll tell you what store has them, and you can go pick them up. But this one has been really great in just learning who I am, because like I said, I'm having to relearn who I am at my core, not just who Kennedy is attached to a school or attached to a job, who I am at the core. And this, when they say 3,000 questions, they ain't joking. Me and my husband, we both have one of these because we wanted to be able to do a page every night together and kind of learn about ourselves and each other. Some questions that can be kind of silly, and some questions that really make you sit back and think deeply about who you are. So it's good for a lot of things, but definitely this, if you just want to learn things about yourself that you didn't know. So I am a big fan of journaling. I would highly recommend it. I've also been finding new ways to really just study and get back into the Bible again, because being able to take those experiences in the Bible and understand them, relate to them, see how they leaned on God in those times and what they learned and got out of those experiences has helped me to be able to deal with my own. And I have a couple of examples of how I do that in breaking down the Bible. The first one is a Bible study guide, Praying with Women in the Bible. I do know I got this from Walmart, but this has been really good, just hearing about those women in the Bible and the stories that they went through, their experiences, and how they got through them, and what you can learn and take from that and apply it to your own situation has been really good. And then Daily Wisdom for Women, also from Walmart. So y'all can see the girl be at Walmart. But just having that quick devotional in the morning or before I go to bed at night to help me think about what wisdom means to me, why wisdom is so important, and how to get it has been really nice at a time where I feel like I know nothing. And I'll keep it real. This is one that really surprised me, but it's one of the biggest things that's helped me during this time. And when you're trying to relearn who you are again, go back to the things that you did when you were a kid. Anything that you loved to do as a kid, go back to those things and do them. That has been such a big help for me. I've started coloring again. I have a couple of coloring books and a nice kit of colored pencils. And if I'm stressed or I'm just in my brain too much, I'll pull out one of those and just start scribbling and start coloring. I've started singing lessons. I dance again. I move my body more. Ooh, and baking. I forgot that one. I bake again because that was something I love doing. I've been baking pies and cakes since I could stand up in a chair and hold a mixer. So I've had so much time to get back in the kitchen and not feel stressed about it. Like, oh, I really should be studying or doing something else. I really don't have time to be in the kitchen like that. I love being in that kitchen and baking and being able to learn new recipes and learn how to do new things, it makes me feel like I'm that little girl standing up in a chair with her mom again. So go back to the things that you used to do when you were a kid. But hey, I won't lie to y'all. Some days are still heavy. All right? Some days are still heavy. I've shut down. I've become more of a recluse than I already am sometimes. There's times where I just haven't talked to family or friends. Some days are still heavy, but I truly believe that there is a way forward from all of this. And that is something that I did not have before. That's something I didn't have a month ago. And that's what makes the difference. So no, I can't say that 29 is what I expected it to be. You know, I may never touch a public health job again, or at least not in the way that I thought that I would. You know, my name won't be on the door of an executive office with all of the credentials and the things. That's not gonna happen. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Whatever my next move will be, it is going to be something that I'm passionate about, that I find joy in and not heartache, and something that allows me to shine, that allows me to use all of my strengths without fear of being good enough or a fear of being neurotypical enough to have a seat at the table. It is a table that I've created and that I will ensure has a seat for others that feel the way that I feel. And if that's what 29 feels like, strength, curiosity, freedom, if that's what 29 is going to feel like for me, then that is something that I know I can find worth living for. And I hope that you'll feel the same way. If you're feeling any of that, if you're feeling like you're not where you thought you would be in life, that you're letting yourself down or your family down or a younger version of yourself down, I feel you. I really do, because I'm there. I feel you, I see you, and I'm here to tell you that no, it's not easy. It's not easy, but there is a way forward. You just have to dig into a part of yourself that you may not even know that you had. You may not even known that you had that type of strength in you to push past that and learn yourself all over again. But it's in you. It's in you. You may not know where to start, but I hope that this video has provided a couple of steps that you feel like you can use to get you off that starting line. Honestly, I truly hope that this has helped you as much as it's helped me. It honestly feels like there's a little bit of weight off of my shoulders just being able to talk about some things that I haven't been able to talk about before like this. So thank you for taking the time to reflect with me. I plan on doing this more in the future. It may not look like this, but this is just what I felt needed to be done for this one in particular, this first one to start everything out. I will see you all in the next one, but until then, take care of you and everything that makes life worth living. Bye, guys.